Well, thank you all for being here with me this afternoon. And I thought that I would talk about a couple of different things. The two subjects I was thinking of are the quality of light and how that affects our perception of art and things in our surroundings. And the other is the symbolism. If you've taken any time to look at the various pieces, you'll see that I've written up a description next to each of the quilts or the garments. And in a lot of cases, those are describing something in Japanese and perhaps Asian symbolism, mythology, and so on. And I think that that's a whole aspect of Asian art that we miss in our own kind of art, except perhaps for our religious symbolism, which has a very long history in Europe, but mostly in this country, we don't have symbols like the crane or the dragon or some of these others that are very meaningful in Asia. So I guess I'll start by talking about the quality of light as I see it. And one of the things that I found very, very interesting in my design life was when I lived in Japan. It's a very northern latitude, and we see a lot of browns and grayed colors in Japanese art and in Japanese clothing. And I'm from northern Minnesota, so we have a rather similar kind of climate, and our trees and landscape and so on may be similar. But I find that in Minnesota, although we find a lot of grayed colors, people tend to think about the bright sun flashing on the snow rather than thinking about the quietude and the shadows in the pine forest. We think more about the sun dancing on the waves on the lakes. What I learned in doing some research about Japanese dyes is the fact that the Japanese have such an appreciation for the color brown that textile historians have made sample books of the various dye fabrics that they could find, and they have identified over 400 variations of the color brown that were used in Japanese dyeing. And what happened with these, to my mind, very interesting, these businesses of dyeing were handed down through generations of one family, and it was father to eldest son. And the recipe would be held so closely that only the father knew the exact formulation for their particular brown. They were always so afraid that somehow some other family or clan would find out about their recipe and duplicate their color, that only the father had the recipe. Well, it was sort of like Coca-Cola keeping theirs in a safe somewhere and not letting anybody have it. Well, you can imagine that over generations, occasionally the father died before he passed along the recipe. And so what I learned was that if I was going to appeal to an audience in this country, that I needed to blend Asian themes with American/Western colors in order to create something that would appeal to an audience here, but still have the wonderful impressions that I learned about in Japan. And so that is where we can take a look at some of the other work and see what I've done as far as bringing the two together. Most of the subjects that the Japanese use in their art and their crafts are borrowed mainly from China and often through Korea, but the noshi is one that was indigenous in Japan, and that is, it looks to us like a bundle of ribbons, and they're very playful. There are many ways that the Japanese show those same ribbons, but the design that I chose was one from a wedding kimono I have in my collection. And on the wedding kimono, those ribbons went all the way around the kimono, came down the long sleeves, wrapped from the back all the way around the front of the kimono, so that the bride was wrapped in these ribbons. The symbolism is about marriage and about prosperity in a married life.